Hi there. Today we're going to complete a lab. Our lab is finding the density of regular shaped items. You should start by locating the digital copy of the worksheet for today. And that's where you'll record all of your information and submit that through Schoology digitally as well. We're going to start with a product. This one here is a metal bar. And so in order to complete our data chart, we have to find out its length first. So I'm going to measure the length here. And I can see that that length is 4 centimeters. Then I'm going to measure the width. And our width is 2 centimeters. And finally, I'm going to measure the height. The height is 1 centimeter. So once I have that information, I'm going to record each of those into the data chart. And now I have to determine the volume. Hopefully you remember in math you learned that in order to find volume, you have to multiply the length times the width times the height. So a math problem similar to this here. Again, in this case, the length we said was 4. The width we said was 2. And the height was 1. So in order to solve this volume, I would multiply 4 times 2. And 4 times 2 is 8. Then I would multiply 8 times 1, and I get a final answer of 8. Now I have to figure out 8 what? In this case, it would be centimeters cubed because volume is always cubed. So on your chart, in the volume column, this is where you will have to calculate the length, the width, and the length, the width, and the height to find volume. It will be your responsibility to do that on your own. The last column, you have to find the density. And so in order to find density, density is mass divided by volume. So I've got a column for mass, so I'm going to take my aluminum block. I'm going to place it onto my scale. Oops, I got to turn it on first. Make sure it's zeroed out. Now I'm going to place this onto my scale, which I know you can't see very well. So I'll tell you what it says. And it says 21.4. So my mass is 21.4. I know that my volume was 8. And so now I'm going to take that off of there. Now I'm going to actually solve for my volume. So I'm going to use my calculator and I'm going to type in the 21.4 just like that. And then I'm going to hit the divide symbol, divide it by 8. And in my graph, I'm going to write down 2.675. And then I have to again make sure I have the correct label. And in this case, the label would be grams per centimeter cubed. Grams per centimeter cubed. It's kind of blurry. So again, you will have to calculate the density of each of those items, and you will have to calculate the volume of each of those items. You can use a calculator. So I'm going to go ahead today, and through the video lab, I will help you find the length, the width, the height, and the mass. You'll also need to make sure that you completely fill in the data chart and then answer question 2 and 3 from the worksheet before you submit it. This lab is worth a total of 30 points, so working really hard to have everything finished is important. I'm going to move on to the plastic block looks like this. Again, I'm going to find its length and its width. So my length is 5. My width is also 5. And in this case, my height is 2. All of these measurements are in centimeters. My mass, 49.1 grams. So if you need to pause at any time, make sure you get all of that into your data chart. Next is a wax block. It looks a lot like the first one, but it definitely has a more waxy feel. So again, the length of this, I gotta make sure and line it up correctly. We're gonna go ahead and go with a length of 5 centimeters. And a width is also 5 centimeters. And our height is 2 centimeters. So you're going to want to make sure you get all that documented on your chart. The mass of our wax block is 40.4 grams. Our final item, we have a block here made of a plastic that looks to be translucent. That means it's not totally clear. Our length of this block is 5 centimeters. Our width is 2 centimeters. And our height is also 2 centimeters. The mass of this item, 22.9 grams. Again, now that you have all of that data, you should be able to calculate the volume for each of these. Remember, volume was length times width times height. And then you should also be able to calculate the density. And to do that, you divide mass by volume. Don't forget to finish answering the 2 extended response questions at the end of the worksheet and then submit that digitally.